Welcome to Intel on AI, the podcast that connects leaders, listeners. Today's guest is Mariam Rahmani. Mariam is the Senior Director of AI at Sorenson Communications. She specializes in developing innovative AI-based solutions that bridge communication gaps, particularly between the deaf and hearing. With over a decade of experience in product development, AI-based solutions, and software engineering, she holds a PhD in IT from the University of Nebraska. She serves as a research scientist where she leads technical projects in partnership with universities. Mariam, welcome to Intel on AI.
Thank you for having me, Heather. Nice to meet you.
That's quite a bio. That must be straight to sit and listen through and go, wow, that's impressive.
Thank you so much.
So at Sorenson, how is your team decide which AI projects to prioritize to drive real-world accessibility?
That's a great question. Sorenson is one of the leading providers of communication solutions for deaf and hard of hearing community. At least 1/3 of my colleagues are either deaf, hard of hearing, or CODA, which means children of deaf adults. When it comes to prioritizing AI projects, we listen first. It's in our DNA that we design and build AI projects that has a direct impact in the daily life of deaf and hard of hearing community. So when we listen first, we really listen to the pain of the community, which means that we really work on projects that even help on the caption quality, or projects on automation of sign language translation that we know that will help facilitating communication between deaf and hard of hearing. So if it has a direct impact for a positive communication, means that it goes to top of our list. If it doesn't help for accessibility or even, for example, helping on autonomy of our users, then it doesn't make the cut.
So your team recently explored automated sign language translation using computer vision. How do you see this type of technology shaping communication in the next few years?
We firmly believe that no AI can replace the presence of humans, especially in the field of communication. AI has an immense impact on filling the gaps, not replacing the human. Take this example, this tragic example that happened in Maine in 2023. There was a cornhole festival and there were several people from deaf community who were attending that tournament. And there was a tragic mass shooting happened and 4 people were shot at the scene. There were many more of deaf community that ended up in the hospital bed. During the chaos of that moment, hospital couldn't provide human interpreters on time. So imagine a device that can fill in the gap, let interpreters know that there is something that can facilitate the communication between doctors and the patients when the interpreters in their way. So I feel like several years from now, we don't need to be worried about if the access to human interpreters can be on time or not. We know that there can be a device that can facilitate this communication and just listen the pain of the community. So it's just helping, not replacing.
Can you share the moment you first realized that AI could play a powerful role in making technology more inclusive for the deaf and hard of hearing community?
Yeah, I do remember a personal moment. It was August 2007. I landed in a new country and in a new city, Omaha, Nebraska, for my PhD. And when I got to the airport, there was a nice girl who came to the airport to pick me up. And after, hi, and how are you? Of course, I could read and write English. However, I couldn't talk very well. I just want to say, hey, it's a hot day today. And I couldn't. I mean, I wrestled in my mind and tried to just see, how can I say it? How can I have a small chat with this nice girl? And I couldn't. And at that moment, just shaped my view on assistive technology. Like, I felt isolated from the world around me. It was some level of pain. It was some level of shame for me that I couldn't communicate well. However, I'm not saying that this is, I am just deaf or hard of hearing. Their pain and their everyday struggle with the communication is another level, but I can say I had a glimpse of that. Fast forward to a couple of years ago that we actually started to showcase our MVP, minimum viable product, to a different members of community in a different workshops and conferences. And I do remember a senior couple that came forward and were saying that, oh, we like your system a lot. Can we use it now? Can we register right now? Can I have it for my daily use? And unfortunately, we couldn't, because that was just had a limited number of signs. The accuracy was limited. So we saw that enthusiasm. And from that moment, I felt like this will open some doors that was closed for so long for this community.
And it's those moments of empathy mixed with the ability and the intelligence of those who can make a difference that change happens. And when that drive is so deeply emotional for the person who's experiencing it, I think you can give an incredible amount of energy to that project.
That's exactly what it is. There is a level of empathy in the product that we're building.
What are some of the biggest challenges in building AI solutions for accessibility that many leaders may not be aware of?
That's a great question, Heather. There are several challenges along the way, but I touch on two main challenges. And one is the lack of quality data. So we all know that AI system needs a lot of data, and not any data, really high quality data. When we're talking about high quality data on this domain, it means high resolution videos. It means that the data needs to have a representation of all the community, not a specific part of the group. For example, if there are deaf signers, we need to have representation of deaf signers and deaf signings in the data set. If we don't do that, then our AI system will operate very well in the lab environment, but it doesn't in the hands of people. So our leaders need to know that building that high quality data set, it takes time, it takes patience. And I'm not sure all the leaders are on board with that. The second thing that I think about a main challenge in building AI in the accessibility domain is scaling AI. In the commercial domain, you build an AI system and then you want to really put it in the market. You want to extend, you want to reach out to the community. And what you do is you will get the strong servers, you deploy it on the best servers you have, you reach out to different demographic area and all. For accessibility, it's different. It's not like building one AI model and then reach out to people. Take this example. There are some deaf people that live and work in the rural areas. They may not have access to high-speed internet. There are others that will work and live in urban area and they have access to high-speed internet. So what happens is that in this context, scaling AI means building both edge and cloud version of the model. And that means that this needs to be designed and thought of from the first step. It cannot be aftermath at the end. We need to think and design at step number one.
Now, hey, you said it yourself, AI promises a lot. It's really, really big, epic promises, but it can be hard to measure impact. How do you and your team measure success when working on accessibility-focused AI initiatives?
Very good question, Heather. We take a multi-layer approach. What it means that we always, like any AI system that we build, we need to look at the technical aspect of it. What it means is that we look at the accuracy, we look at the latency, we look at the benchmarking, we make sure all the math are there and the AI model performs well. But something that is even more important than the technical side of it is that the human-centered outcome. What it means that if we look at this metrics very closely, we provide the system to the hands of our users, can they use the tool to accomplish a task or communicate with their hearing counterpart without needing any extra, like a human interpreter or any other tools? By using this tool, they accomplish a task? The second question we will ask is that, did we reduce the reliance to pen and paper? Can they just get away with the pen and paper and just use our system to finish their task? And the broader question is, did we actually solve a real problem in the communication domain for them? So if we answered yes to any of those, that means success. If it doesn't, then technicality of it, the accuracy, anything on the paper doesn't mean anything.
Now, you have led AI teams tackling cutting-edge challenges. What have you found to be essential in building a high-performing AI team that's also mission-driven?
Fantastic question. For me personally, when I build a team, I look at the 3 different colors. The first color it's really important for me is a purpose. All my team members need to know what they are doing and why they are doing what they're doing. If they understand the why, if they understand the mission that the team is after, which is serving the real people, they will be more creative, they will be more resilient. And by having those 2 attributes, then they will innovate more. The second pillar that I am looking is trust. My team needs to trust my management style, and I will trust how they work. And by trust, I mean they are not afraid of asking any questions, like hard questions, bold questions, asking about assumptions. So when those questions come in, people will be curious. So trust unleash curiosity. And when they are curious, they will learn. And if a team can learn in a daily basis, then nothing can stop them. The third pillar, which is how, and it's very important for me, is empathy, something that you said in the beginning of this podcast. So we have a level of empathy in the device we are building, in the solution that we are building. If the solution itself has empathy, how come the team doesn't have that level of empathy towards themselves? If they know somebody in the other side of the table, listen to them. Yeah, their opinion matters and they're not talking to the wall. Then that team really can tackle everything and can solve big problems. And so these 3 things, purpose, trust, and empathy, are base of how I build a high-performing team.
Every single other concept of business can all come back to those 3 things. That's a fantastic answer. With so many discussions around AI in the public space, what is something you wish more executives understood about the practical realities of deploying AI in accessibility contexts?
A great question. I wish more executives understood that building AI for accessibility isn't just a technical challenge, it's a human responsibility. And by that, I mean that we need to engage and involve with our deaf and hard of hearing community in every step of design and building this solution. It takes more than a good model to really solve this problem. It means that the deaf and hard of hearing being co-creators. So create with us, not only tests at the end of the pipeline. So if we are going to be perfect, for example, we want to be we want to have a perfect model to go to the market, I am sure that will take a long, long way. Take this ASR example, autonomous speech recognition. What it actually took, it took 50 years to get to the level of captioning and ASR that we have here. And we are in a really we just started few years ago. So it takes a lot of iteration, and we need to be bold and risk it and show it and present it to the community and get this constant feedback and build on top of each failure that we have. So that is, I wish that more leaders and executives would know, which is important for deploying AI in accessibility domain.
Looking across the AI landscape, are there emerging trends in vision or NPL that you find particularly exciting for improving accessibility?
So what excites me is the use case of those AI technology for AI for good or accessibility domain. What it means is that, for example, take these multimodal models and AI. So what it does is, what multimodal is, it can take video, text, audio, any format of input, and then can work on those and accomplish tasks based on what we ask. Think this example of a narrative for a picture, and AI can say a human walking, a man walking a dog, and another narrative can be a man in his 40s walking a golden retriever in a park full of autumn leaves. So the difference between these two, when you look at that, what is the impact of the second narrative for somebody with low vision or blind? Somebody's blind, trying to navigate the internet and want to see and want to feel all these pictures and videos around there, but there is not captioning for them. And AI can automatically do that. I think that we open some doors with these AI systems that were closed for part of the community that were always sidelined. They were not in the center. People with disability, with the low vision and blind people, they didn't have access to this kind of information. We kind of unleash some of the information at the sensory level. We just give them this feeling that was not possible a couple of years ago. So those are the kind of AI that excites me.
As a leader, what have you learned about balancing the speed of AI innovation with the responsibility to ensure accessibility and ethical outcomes?
Well, I learned that innovation and responsibility are not opposite. So what it means is that we need to really take a pause, intentional pause when we build a system. If we don't do that at the time of the design, our algorithm eventually either will not be ethically right or they will show some bias. Get this example of facial recognition system at the beginning of the days when the facial recognition system kind of a new thing. They were built based on the database, and the data sets that were around in the internet, or people built that. And there were not a lot of representation of brown and black skin. So what happened is that those systems had a severe bias towards recognizing the fair skinned people and couldn't recognize the black people well. And if we want to not repeat those mistakes, we need to have intentional pause during the design. For me and my team, the question is not how fast we go. The question is, what do we need to get right before we move forward? And those questions come at the time of even designing the data set. It's very step. Does this data has a good representation of all deaf and hard of hearing community, or is it biased toward a specific part of the community? So I think at the end of the day, by pausing and really working with intention, an intentional pause in the process, we don't lose anything. We gain the trust of the community along the way.
How you worked across academia, Intel, building a new venture from the ground up inside Intel, which was On a Bridge AI, and now Sorenson. How have these experiences shaped your approach to building AI products with societal impact?
Each chapter of my journey shaped my mindset in a distinct way. So what I can tell you is that in college, I learned to ask really deep questions, like be curious, ask questions about the assumption, why you're solving this problem, why not that one. So a lot of those questions taught me to be a critical thinker, to don't accept right away whatever is said, just being a critical thinker. And then at the Intel, it was a completely different level. I was part of a bigger machine, a bigger execution machine. And what it was is that when you are part of a larger ecosystem, you learn to align yourself with a mission of bigger organization. And with that, I learned to act with discipline, to deliver with the discipline. Building OmniBridge AI from ground up, it was a turning point for me. So we created a startup inside Intel, and I had to put multiple hats at the same time. I was a researcher, I was a designer. I was working with dev community, like sometimes every day we had an interview with them. I was leading a team. So by putting these multiple hats and moving the team towards a shared mission, I learned to be agile, how to work with agility. And in Sorenson, my experience reached to another level. And here I have a lot of people from the community, from deaf and hard of hearing community that really they are part of the team. We are not building for them. We are building with them. They are co-creators. So kind of we are learning about their culture every day. We are putting part of those nuances of ASL that we weren't aware of, yeah? But right now we are building with them. So means that we are more aware of all the needs, all the gaps that we had in the past. All together, all these places from college to Intel to OmniBridge to Sorenson helped me realize that building AI is really not about technology, building the high-end technology, but it's about building a system that humans are at the center part of it.
You need to be remarkably accomplished and remarkably busy. If you could have an AI assisted handle maybe one small part of what I think is a giant day, to give you more time for what matters, what would that be?
Wonderful question. I would not ask for an AI assistant. I think there are a lot of assistants right now in the market that big companies provided and people are using it. I'm happy with it. What I would ask is a mirror of myself, a mirror that has a better version of myself. I'm thinking about what AI, it's kind of strange maybe, but when I was thinking about it, I felt this is exactly what I want. I want a system or an AI that have read all the books that I have read in my life, have seen all the movies I have seen, have listened to all the music I have listened in the past, know myself very well, have a good understanding of what my mental model is, and give me a roadmap to a better version of myself. Tell me now what book I need to read. What music can I listen based on my personality and based on my mood? It's kind of be with me along the way so I know who I am and just tell me these are the possibilities in next few years and I can listen to it. And imagine 8 billion people in this world have access to this AI. So they will have a roadmap to a better version of themselves. And what it happens is that this AI is not really replacing human, helping human to have clarity when the moments of clarity is hard to find.
This has been an extraordinary conversation. I'm really thinking about you a lot. I got to tell you, you really got in there. You really got in there for me. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I feel calmer knowing that you're out there making sure that with empathy and kindness and attention and detail to making sure that everybody gets the most out of life. And that is really, really extraordinary. So I want to say thank you for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Heather.
And for everybody watching, this was Intel on AI with Mariam Rahmani. My name is Heather Brigham. I'm your host. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Visit intel.com/AI to learn more.